everyone, this is Tripper, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys an Archer Tactics video. It's all me to...
Hello?
Yeah.
Hello, everyone.
Frosty's here. So guys, I have been promising, saying that I would do an Archer Tactics forever, and haven't. But it's here. It's finally here, and it's also... Oh my god, it's also edited. So
yes.
if the video skips, it's just a jump cut. I'm wanted to make sure it's as high production quality as possible because this is...
Small Knight is hit, by the way.
Oh, baby. Oh! As I was saying, it's edited. And if there's cuts, they're there for a reason. So, Frosty is going to be giving most, if not all, of the tactics and advice today because he has far more hours than I do in Archer. I don't have much in the way of tips and tricks to give for Archer, but Frosty does. And I'll kind of be practicing the stuff that he's suggesting while he speaks. So keep that in mind. Enjoy the ride. Oh my!
Just interesting.
Fucking dumb.
I mean, just to kind of, I guess, give this little bit last, introduction or whatever. I'm gonna be giving you guys tips and tricks based on my play style and what I found to be effective. Mm-hmm. There are people that play completely different than me because, like, for instance, there are archers that think that Warbow's a good bow, and I'm going to explain why I think it's not a good bow. Just based on my experience. So it's one of those things where take what I have to say with a grain of salt, try it out for yourself. I'm just going to, say things that I find work, and then things that I find that don't work. I'm just going to basically go over some very, just sort of the basic stuff that, some of you are going to go, well, fucking duh, Frosty. Some of you are going to be like, huh, I didn't know what that was because some of you guys are new. So I'm going to explain everything as if it was new. Yep. So I've got the basic Archer loadout here. I'm using a Longbow, and I'm going to be using the starter arrows. The starter arrows on the Longbow are called the bodkin. And what a bodkin arrow is, for those of you that don't know, is if you pull your bow back and look at the arrow while it's while you kind of have it ready to shoot, you'll see that it has a tiny little point on it. And what that means is that's actually used to penetrate armor. So the bodkin arrow is actually going to do more damage in the head and in the chest versus a knight or a vanguard player because they're more heavily armored. As where if you used a broadhead arrow, it has this, it's a much larger arrow. It's actually meant to kill archers and men-at-arms. So depending on what sort of playstyle, go Agatha. Yep. Depending on what sort of playstyle you guys are going for, anti-archer or just trying to get as many shots into the enemy knights as possible, that's gonna kind of determine what sort of arrow you're using. Yep. So I personally don't find broadhead to be super effective over the bodkin, and the reason is because I like dealing a lot of damage to the enemy tank players, which are the knights. I like whittling them down and then letting my teammates pick them apart. And you'll typically notice if you're in a match with me, I will have a ridiculous amount of assists because that's how I play. I choose to, pick down the enemy and let my teammates clean them up. But, if I was to be like, hey, there's a lot of good enemy archers on this team, fuck these enemy archers. If I had to use a bow, I would be using broadhead and just hunting down enemy archers because it's going to do a lot more damage. Personally, I don't find that any of the bows are good at anti-arching in particular, but I prefer to use a crossbow if I'm going anti-arch, but that's just me. But what were you going to say? You were going to ask me a question? Yeah,
I was just going to say, definitely, like, while we're talking about sort of intro stuff for the archer, something that you talked a lot about when we were talking about basically just what to do as a beginning archer, because I'm basically a beginning archer, is to know your role, right? Know what you're doing, because that's the only way you're going to know what to set your loadout as a knight or vanguard. Like, you're just going to go and kill people. As an archer, you need to have a mission.
Yeah, you have to have a purpose in mind. Otherwise, just go play knight or vanguard. You'll be more useful. Like, archer players that are running around out to... Oh, wow, you almost got hit by a catapult. Holy shit. Archer players that are out to just get kills, in my opinion, are a waste of a slot because there's a lot more things you can be doing while you're getting kills.
Yep.
Like behind you, by the way.
Yep.
Oh wow, nice throw, homie.
Yeah,
someone else. What the fuck was that Claymore reverse? Wrong weapon for that, dude. Completely wrong weapon. But so, what I mean by know your role is like, so if you are an archer player like two very specific goals in mind. You should be running with your running with your group that are in the front lines and helping them weaken enemies by shooting the knights or the vanguards. That's definitely a good job that you can be doing while pushing the objective with your team. And if you're going to be playing that sort of a role, I would recommend a short bow, just because you can be up close in the action. You can get out 2 arrows for every 1 arrow of the longbow, and you can quickly switch to your melee if need be. So you can kind of be versatile and help. And now some people would say, hey, why wouldn't you use a jab to do that? The reason that I personally say don't use jabs is as a knight player, I can be equally as effective with my throwing axes, and then I just have a better weapon and more HP.
Yeah.
I personally don't find that shields with a crappy little short stabbing spear are super good, because as an archer, your number one, one of the number one things you can do to like be annoying and keep yourself alive is repost.
Yeah.
And with a shield, what the hell? Like, it's just sort of stopping you from doing that.
That's a pretty good overview. That was a lot of stuff, but
yeah, I know it is a lot of stuff. I apologize.
No, it's fine. In summary, basically, like, know your role, know what you want to do as the archer. If you want to, like, get up there and just start picking, like, counter-arching, picking off archers and MAAs, which you should have a purpose for. Pick out a broadhead, pick out a, quick bow. Bodkin. Sorry,
Yeah.
Wait, bodkin?
Bodkin arrow is the armor-piercing arrow.
No. I said man-at-arms and archers.
Yeah. I was just saying, if you're switching your role from man-at-arms and archer to knight and vanguard, go for the bodkin.
Switch to bodkin. Yeah.
Honestly, the bodkin, even though it does a little bit less damage to archers and man-at-arms, I think it's the most versatile anyway, because they don't have much HP to begin with, so it doesn't really matter that you're taking a small penalty. If that makes sense to you.
Yeah.
I think that one of the best things you can be doing as an archer is, have you ever noticed on Dark Forest, Jesus, Dark Forest and other maps like, Stones Hill that have a battering ram, you'll notice that there's this large cluster of freaking knights and vanguards that are all clustering around the cart, like pushing it forward. That's the archer's job. Because I'm the only class that can be on the cart pushing it forward while actually still being an aggressive class.
Dealing damage.
Yeah, exactly. So it's such a waste of your time to be there as a knight. Unless the enemy is fully pushing you back, then you can support it. But otherwise, like, leave it to the archers, man. You guys are more useful melee classes running up and stalling the enemy so I can get the cart forward. But that's sort of just like a general overview. Yeah.
Location's
general
huge.
Overview of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, general overview.
And then
I'll
get into like aiming and what types of bows I prefer,
Yeah.
etc. for certain situations.
Yeah, so let's get right on into primary weapons then. I called this weapon the God Bow and said that that's what you would probably call it, and you agreed.
Yeah, the short bow, in my opinion, is the best bow in the game. Simply because it just spits out fire so quick. You're able to dodge against enemy archers, and the thing about it that I like is that you can be more aggressive, put yourself in the the close quarter, so you're able to get off a couple shots before people can get into melee range, and then you can quickly switch to your melee. As where with longbow, I have 1 shot at best to hit somebody, and like that's not really helping anybody, especially not me when a full health enemy is charging at me.
Yep.
Okay.
But yeah, this weapon, I know I just missed 100 times for you guys, but the thing about this weapon is you should be firing constantly because you'll get a shot like that at some
exactly.
point.
That's the thing. You can afford to miss 100 times with a bow that quick. One of the main things in terms of just like aiming that I find extremely helpful is when I first started playing this, I aimed a lot with my mouse because that's obviously you're like, well, what else are you going to aim with, Frosty, if you're not aiming with your mouse? What I mean by aiming with my mouse is that I would kind of stand still or sort of do basic footwork with WASD, and then I would try and track the enemy with my mouse. And I don't find that that's an extremely effective way to hit people. I think the only thing that you should be doing with your mouse is lining up roughly where on the body you want to hit them, and then aim with WASD. Keep it smooth, keep it straight, so that literally, and then the thing is that if your enemy is walking to the left, move to the left with your enemy, and kind of like figure out where the arrow's going to go with them, match their speed or whatever, and then just let it go. And you'll find most of the time that your shots will connect almost flawlessly if you do that, rather than just like freaking out and putting your cursor all over the place.
Yeah, exactly. I found just then I was aiming a lot with my mouse. You probably saw some jerkiness, guys, and
Yeah,
basically,
the irky jerky is
yeah.
bad, especially for somebody like me who uses
Yep.
incredibly high sensitivity.
Oh God.
I use extremely high sensitivity, so I can't afford to be looking everywhere that I want.
Now we're going on to the longbow. Obviously, this is not the weapon of choice that you should be going for an archer, and the reasons why are interesting. Because the way I described it earlier was it's a jack of all trades, master of none. And Frosty can probably go into detail a bit more.
That's a good way of describing it. Because the thing is, a lot of people will be like, "What are you talking about? The short? I mean, the longbow's solid. The longbow, I guess, is solid at being kind of bad at everything. It's the thing is, it has okay range, but the thing is, if you're playing short bow, like I see most longbow archers playing at the range of a short bow archer anyway. So it's not like they're using the range to their advantage. And the thing is. Your butt just got my shot. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
The thing about a longbow is that its rate of fire is hideous.
Yep. So slow.
So you're not able to, you're not able to lay down the fire. And the thing is, it doesn't do that much damage. So it's not even particularly good at being an anti-archer bow. The only way I would ever recommend that you use the longbow is that if you are going for killing lighter classes like the archer and you want to be at more of a distance and you're using broadhead. That's the only way that it's even slightly passable of a bow, but I would say skip over it entirely just because this bow's going to get you killed. The thing is, it's just like, as an archer, a lot of the time, depending on if you're not positioning great and you're not like, sticking in the very back as a sharpshooter, hiding with a ghillie suit in the bushes, you're going to end up being engaged in melee combat and you just straight up can't lay down enough fire quick enough to end your assailant most of the time before you have to switch to melee.
Yep. And
the thing is, if a full health enemy is now in melee combat with you because you weren't able to shoot them once, especially a lot of the time, even me as an archer, I'll panic if I'm not using a crossbow, because crossbows are great at the close quarters thing, and we'll go over that later. But I will panic even and be like, oh shit, fuck, what am I supposed to do? See, I just roasted that guy. I just hit him once.
Yep.
Roasted.
Riggedy wrongled.
But it's just not a reliable way to protect yourself, I guess. You can't count on it. No.
Let's just fucking kill him.
Sorry, right in the sternum, homie.
I'm done with this.
I was just trying to archer fight him because he was like, he was using his terrain to his advantage, which was nice.
Exactly.
Trying to keep that pole in between us, which is really cool. But his movement was a little bit predictable. That's the thing, guys. You need to get good at just kind of randomly tapping your directionals while you're getting into an archer fight, because it's always going to be this awkward back and forth dance sort of thing that you guys are doing, trying to sidestep each other. But if you guys get too much you always move to the right after you shoot, people will start to notice that, or at least I will, and I'll always kill you in an archer fight if you play like that. So that's just something to be mindful of. But anyway, that's kind of I know I got off topic from the longbow.
Fine. I just don't want to use this thing anymore, man. It's so slow.
It's so garbage, isn't it? After using the short bow, you're just like, what is happening? If I was to say use it or fucking burn it, I would say burn it. Definitely burn it. Use it to, fucking warm your family in the winter, because it's going to be more useful. But let's go ahead and move on to the short bow, which is the bread and butter. My fucking
piece de resistance. Yes.
This bow is just the most effective bow, in my opinion. It does a little bit less damage than the longbow, and you can get 2 arrows out for every 1 shot you can get out of the longbow.
Just about, yeah.
Which doesn't sound like a lot, but once again, if you're not going for kills and you're just whittling down the enemy, that stacks up incredibly fast.
Right here, where oh my god. Okay, if I hadn't gotten impaled, I would have just gotten tons of free shots on those guys, lots of them. And the number of shots matters, because you get a lot more chances to hit people, and you get a lot more just aids to your team, and not the bad kind of aids.
The bad kind of aids is what he means. That's the thing, is that the thing about the short bow that I really like is it gives you the freedom just to keep firing. You got 35 arrows. You don't got to worry about reloading all that much. And by reloading, I mean restocking your arrow count, which is fucking beautiful. I love that about this bow. And the thing is that I don't need to, sit out there and plan each of my shots and have to watch my target for super long, because the wind up of the bow is long. I can literally just spit arrows out.
This guy keeps moving at the last fucking second.
Oh, is he an archer?
Yep.
Yeah, dude. Welcome to an archer that knows that you're targeting him.
But yeah, you were saying about the short bow.
It's just the best bow in my opinion.
Yep.
If you're gonna use it with a bodkin. Never equip it with a broadhead because, once again, it's a weaker bow. This isn't necessarily a bow that you're going to be using to anti-arch, unless you're incredibly good at getting headshots, which I just hit that guy in the head. But even still, I'm gonna have to hit him twice in the head to kill him. Nice, you just finished the guy.
Yep.
But that's just one of those things that, like, it'll eventually come once you've used the short bow enough. You'll start getting a little bit annoyed about the damage that you're doing, so you'll start going only for headshots, which is kind of what you guys should be doing anyway. But it's a good habit builder.
Yep.
And you'll just, like, if you just start landing headshot with this thing, like, there's no other bow that can even remotely compare.
Yep.
Also, the thing I like about the short bow is that if you're not particularly the best at anti-arching in terms of dropping them, like killing them, depending on if the archer loses his cool while being shot at, which a lot of people will do, they'll start missing. If you just start laying fire into an enemy archer, that's a way to anti-arch. Like, you're not going to be as effective as if you're just shooting the enemy team, but if you're just planking arrows at an enemy archer and he starts freaking out and not getting his shots off, you're still doing something for the team.
Yep.
Like, I'm literally right now, I've just been hitting guy after guy after guy that's coming out of their spawn. So every single person that right now is coming into combat is wounded. Like, I may not be getting kills, but tell me that that's not helpful to the team.
Oh, very, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not about topping the scoreboard as an archer.
Nope. Yeah, that should not be your goal, guys.
Yeah.
Despite the fact I'm 449, I have the most assists in the game currently.
Yep. Look at you.
Which is pretty great. Yeah, I love.
Oh, you got 9 assists. Beautiful. I got 6 assists, which I just started using this bow, which I'm happy about.
Oh, exactly.
I've been using war bow, which is just kill me right fucking now, please.
Oh
Worst
god.
bow.
Yeah, I think we should just mention. I'm not going to show gameplay of it because it's just not worth it. But
it's an awful bow. Straight up. A lot of people are going to disagree with me because they're like, it does so much damage. I have never played against a warbow archer that has ever been able to beat me, even if I'm using a sling, ever. And I'm talking about an archer duel, because the thing is, the warbow slows you down walking when you pull it back. The arrow shoots out quicker than any other bow, and it'll get to its target faster. That's the one good thing about the warbow. But, like, it doesn't matter, dude. If you're letting yourself be a turtle, I'm just gonna roast you. Anytime I see a warbow archer, I just spend like 1 second. I hit him once, hit him again, he dies. And it's like, okay, thanks for using the warbow, dude. Free kill. And the thing is, it does decent damage. But if you're trying to do a lot of damage where you're instantly dropping somebody, use a crossbow, homie.
Yep.
It's better.
Yep. In fact, that's a very good segue to the crossbows. Why don't we start off by talking about the regular crossbow, which, as we talked about earlier, is kind of the catch-all of crossbows. Unlike the longbow, this is actually a pretty decent weapon.
Yep. The crossbow, the regular crossbow, based on just the average man's play style of shoot, cover yourself, shoot, cover yourself, shoot, is the best crossbow. Because the thing is, crossbow users, you have the stability and the reliability of a weapon that will consistently land you headshots because the arrow drop isn't as extreme.
Yep.
So there's no reason that when you're using a crossbow, you should not be going for headshots. And the thing about a regular crossbow is you kill an archer hitting him in the head, you kill a man-at-arms hitting him in the head, you kill a vanguard hitting him in the head.
Yep.
If they have been breathed on by anybody, which is normally what has happened. So a full health vanguard, you're not going to kill one shot. I don't believe. I actually have to think about that because I play so much mercs. But but the thing is that the reload is a lot faster than the heavy crossbow. I see a lot of people think that the heavy crossbow is the best because it one shots literally everybody.
Show this, but yeah, keep talking.
But I disagree. I think that the heavy crossbow is one of the worst things that you can do to yourself if you're actually trying to do the job of an archer, which is help the team. I only recommend the heavy crossbow ever if you cannot land headshots and like if you are horrible at aiming. So if you cannot land headshots and you're going for archer players, I would recommend the heavy crossbow. Otherwise, the regular crossbow does just as good a job and it reloads faster.
Yeah, look at this thing with the heavy cross. That's more than twice as long as the regular.
Can you come to me, by the way?
Yep. I'm gonna use a heavy cross.
I'm just down here. Well, I'm just gonna show, because here's the big thing about people, a big mistake that I see people do. So come point out to me why what I'm doing is wrong. So stand right there.
Yep.
Pretend you're an enemy archer. Why is what I'm doing is wrong? So I'm gonna shoot at you, right?
Yep.
And I'm gonna turn around. I'm gonna reload.
I can see your butt. Yeah.
You can see me, right?
Yep.
What? So this big shield has not done anything for
Nothing.
me.
So show them the right way.
So let's say I shoot at you, I miss, and then I do this.
Yep. I have maybe a part of a leg, but even then.
Part of a leg, barely.
Yeah.
And the way that you do that, guys, is by crouching and looking slightly up, looking about 2 heads up of headshot height, and then reloading. Yep. So yeah, you can do it on your screen, and they'll see what it looks like.
I'm pretty sure. I don't. Do you have to crouch if you look all the way up?
Well, look it.
Do it. You were looking all the way up there? Shit. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You're right. Yeah. So you got to crouch first. Okay. Cool. Pro tip there, I didn't know that.
That's the thing. That's the thing with heavy crossbows and with regular crossbows. I recommend grabbing a shield.
Yep.
Just because you can't reload fast enough. I see people use these bows without shields, and straight up they fire, and then what do they have to do because I'm shooting at them? They go, oh God, where's the closest thing I can hide behind? Oh no. And then they run over here, and then they have to reload, and it slows them down. As where with this shield, you have the confidence of, as long as you can trust your team, you just fire, turn around right where you are, reload, turn around, twitch shot, fire again. Like it's not too hard to do. The only crossbow I recommend not using a shield with, and that's because you straight up don't need it. Light crossbow, because I can reload and jump out of the way before a longbow archer can shoot me. Like if a longbow archer shoots at you, like the way that you want to shoot at somebody when you're not using a shield as a crossbow archer, get fucking roasted, sir, is you want to have them fire at you, miss, shoot at them, and then reload. Because you can actually reload before they're going to fire again. If they're using a longbow or a warbow, if they're using a short bow, like you're able to do it, but the timing is a lot tighter, and then it's a lot riskier. So I don't recommend using that tactic against a short bow user.
Yep. Yeah, I'm gonna go light crossbow here. I'm gonna throw myself to the wolves. I only have 3 arrows left. That's something to keep in mind. Keep an eye on your ammo, ladies and gentlemen. Ow.
Yeah, that's the thing. You don't have much. You don't have many arrows when you're using a shield, which is the one sad part. But the thing is that like the shield is so worth it. The only time that the shield is ever a detriment to you guys is that, for instance, if I'm pushing the cart and I'm going to be the last one on the cart, if I realize that I'm in a 2v1 situation, the very first thing you want to do is drop that shield down. Press 3, get that shield out of there, because what that does is that actually gives you a bigger hitbox and makes you easier to hit. So you have less of a chance of surviving a 2v1 or a 1v1. Just because they can clip you, it makes your hitbox bigger, which is fair because it's such a massive shield.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's weird because it's the shield, it's not you. But yeah, something to keep in mind. Shields do increase the size of your hitbox. I did really well.
One thing that you can do, by the way, without a shield is do this when you're reloading. So if you fire, so it's like pretend that you fire, jump, do this. I know that looks like you're trying to make fun of somebody. I've had people straight up miss because they're aiming for my head, and then I duck out of the way in time.
Oh, I love it. That's so cool. I'd never realized you could actually do that. That guy, that archer up there is using a heavy cross and like not even turning around. Did you just kill him?
Nope.
I'm about to. Oh, no, almost. But that's the thing, guys. Use the Pavis, however.
Use the fucking roast.
You got him. Roast. Yeah, riggedy wrong.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing I like about crossbow archers like that, is that, you know, he's not paying attention as to where I am, so he's just turning around and then instantly exposing himself.
Behind you.
Did you notice when he turned around, he had his bow up, so it meant that he had to walk. If you're going to turn around and you're looking for an archer, don't turn around with your bow raised, because then you can't turn around if they shoot at you.
Yeah, crossbow has that. I actually just noticed that a couple days ago, that if you can run around as much as you want, but as soon as you zoom in with the crossbow,
Yeah.
But basically, guys, light crossbow is really, really fun. It's really great. If you want to just be as quick as humanly possible, light crossbow, I want to say, is faster than the short bow. Does that sound about right, Frosty?
Excuse me?
Light crossbow is faster than the short bow?
The light crossbow is... The thing is...
Maybe about the same?
You can lay down more fire if you're twitch shotting with the light crossbow.
But you got to be careful about that, I guess.
But the thing is that like with the light crossbow, if you can't spit out fire as quickly as you can spit out fire with the short bow. Because the thing about the short bow is that because you're up and you don't have to look down to reload, you're situationally aware of where everybody is at all times. So it's easier for you to accurately spit. As where when it comes to the light crossbow, though you may be able to spit out fire just as quickly in terms of seconds wise, to actually line up a decent shot that's worth you wasting one of your bolts on.
Okay.
Like, you can't. Like, I haven't, unless you're fucking God, which I haven't yet seen a person who I've ever been like, oh, you're a god in this game with that bow. You can just literally every single time you reload, get an instant headshot. Like, I haven't seen it done. I've seen very good players with it, obviously, but never like, you were untouchable. Who is this man? And then let me think. What am I trying to? Freaking behind you.
Whatever.
Sling.
Sling, baby.
Sling is fun.
Should be interesting.
I really like sling. It's a very goofy weapon to use.
Yep.
The only way that it's actually viable using is you can't play with it like you're playing with a different bow.
Sorry, go ahead.
You have to play it in a very specific way to even make it even slightly worth it. You have to be really good at twitch shotting.
Yep.
To make the bow worth it. And because the thing about, the sling. And the reason is because with a sling, you can sprint.
Yep.
While you are warming up the bow, right? So while you're warming up the shot. So it doesn't make sense for me to walk back and forth and get into an archer fight while looking at them. The thing that makes sense with a sling archer is here. I'll look over at you.
Yeah.
What you do is you run around. You're kind of avoiding, and then wham, take a shot. Go back to doing your bullshit, and then turn around, wham, take a shot, go back to your bullshit. So you have to be good at like straight up, just kind of like running around doing your bullshit, and then hit somebody, and then turn it back around, get it. Like that's the way I find it's effective to play sling.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, it certainly takes a bit more in terms of situational awareness and making sure that you're not, like, going somewhere you don't want to be going, because you gotta
make sure that your screen blur is off. Make sure that your blur is off if you're going to play a Sling Archer, because you're literally just going to be looking at a blurry screen the entire game.
Yeah, exactly. You ought to be flailing around if you're playing
Make sure that your sensitivity is high as well.
Yeah.
It's the only way to properly do it.
Yeah. And I'm sure someone's going to ask this, do you think there's any merit to using the lead ball for the sling?
Yes, I would use the lead ball over the rocks any day. It does more damage.
Okay, sick.
And the thing is, it's not that big of a problem to reload. If you're an archer, you get used to doing it. See that headshot? I just twitch shotted him. I was sprinting, turned around, twitch shot. Whoop. So like, it is a viable weapon.
Fuck. Yeah.
I think people use it wrong, but it is a viable weapon.
Speaking of viable weapons and unviable, we actually completely skipped a category of weapon, but intentionally.
Jav?
Yep. So
I mean, I talked about Jav. I said that.
You did. I'm just going to show it to them.
It's just not worth it. The thing is, I know that there are some quote-unquote good Jav Archer players out there that are going to yell at me for this, but the thing is, you guys are straight up just a useless class. You can get a couple kills, maybe, by being obnoxious. You're kind of a harass, but the thing is, this isn't an RTS. I don't need a harass class in my lineup. I'd rather have a Vanguard throwing axes and then going in with a Brandy. I'd rather have a Knight going in, throwing axes and then go in with a dub axe. Like, honestly, because like I said, I can be just as effective with my throwing axes as you can with your jabs. The thing is, you just are fully committed to that play style, and then you're not as good at melee, because once again, you have this shitty little shield, you have this horrible little melee weapon, and you just can't 2v1 as accurate, as nicely.
Yep, no riposts.
Nope, it's lame. Like, once again, people are going to disagree with me on that, but I stand firm on that. Like, I got through the Jav portion of my life just to unlock the veteran helmet. I did it in about like maybe an hour and a half of playing, because the Jav is extremely easy to get kills with. But I was dying as much as I was getting kills, because you're literally running in and throwing your life away.
Yep, literally.
You don't need to do that as an archer.
No.
Like, and the thing is, a lot of people are like, hey, it's a really good anti-archer because you can run up and ambush archers. If I was going to do that, I'd rather do that as a man-at-arms with a falchion, because it's just as effective. But also, I get to fire pot, and I'm better at meleeing people. I'm more annoying.
Yeah, that too. So yeah, javelins, not a whole lot to say. Though you did say before that if they had to choose one, it'd be a heavy jav.
Yeah, if they have to choose one, do the heavy jav. At least get the most damage out of it as you can.
Nope. Yeah.
Like, at least that's something, please help.
Yeah.
Senpai.
Exactly. All right, so that's what we have for primary weapons. Now we're gonna go to secondary just for a little bit. Top-notch secondary weapon for the archer is the saber, hands down.
I think that should be the #1 pick for anybody that actually is doing their positioning properly, where they're going to be getting into a lot of 2v1s because they're the last one on the cart, things like that.
Riposte,
the saber's
baby.
just the most solid option. Longest range, really good at riposting. An incredibly good weapon, honestly, all around. It does good damage for how quick it is.
I just 2v1.
The short sword is a close second, but the only reason that I don't like the short sword as much is the best thing about the short sword is it's excelled LMB, and I don't think that that's any way to play if you're trying to keep yourself alive, because you're kind of banking on the fact that they don't know how to deal with that bullshit with their range. Like, it's just not as effective. It's not as long range. So I would say stick with the stick with the saber, man. It's just a better version of the short sword. I know that people prefer the short sword, and once again, it's about a preference thing. But you guys are getting my opinions, so I'm gonna give you my preference on what I think is the best.
That life, right there.
You could use daggers if you want to as well. The reason that I say refrain from using daggers is they're just kind of a cheesy weapon in terms of like how you use them, and I don't think that the dagger is fully at its potential in the hands of an archer. I think it is at its potential when used in the hands of a man-at-arms, because dupe,
baby.
But once again, opinion. But that's what I would say. Cudgel's a fun weapon as well.
It is fun.
Once again, it's good with those Excel LMBs, and it's a fun reverse weapon. But it just doesn't come close to the saber in terms of effectiveness.
Yep.
Like, it's a fun weapon. I do use cudgel here and again just for fun, but like if I was playing seriously, like to the best of my ability, I wouldn't go near the cudgel. Just not good enough.
Yeah, I feel you. If you're trying to max out, you'll want to go saber. Are they like all up in our general right now?
No, but I am getting roasted by teammates.
You got team killed. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I get roasted by teammates constantly. Oh man, my assists and kills started going up when I used a sling.
Nice. So that's what
what
we got for
happens when I
weapons.
use the warbow, dude. You just can't do good, man. Like it's just garbage. Especially because I've conditioned myself to be more of an up close and personal archer, like where I'll be about mid range. I can get in about an arrow, 2 arrows before they can get into melee range with me. That's about the range that you want to be with the short bow, in my opinion. But you can go long range short bow. It's definitely doable.
So that's what we got for weapons, guys. And other than weapons, so there's a few little closing tidbits as well. Something that I can absolutely attest to is the necessity for archers to learn how to use siege weapons well.
Yep.
And Frosty, you can tell them why, especially with an example from Stonehill, though we're not on Stonehill.
Yeah, we're not on Stonehill, but the best example I can give of that is if you see a knight or a vanguard up there, they're a fucking waste of your life. They're a waste of time. And the reason is they're down there. They should be doing their job, which is melee. You picked melee, go melee, and then go die for your king.
Die for your king.
If you are an archer, however, you can be laying down fire, because I don't know if a lot of you guys know this. I'm assuming that you do. The ballista reloads itself. You don't have to be on the ballista for the animation to go. It's something that they never fixed. So all you have to do is go on the ballista, fire a shot, get off the ballista, and then just start laying down fire. And then as soon as it's reloaded, go back onto the ballista. Like, you were the #1 effective person to use the ballista, but for some reason, Knight players and Vanguard players like to think it's their job to do it. You guys are stupid. Don't do it. Let the range stick to the archers.
Yep.
Because, you guys are going to hate us for shooting people, so let us do what we do best, which is garner hate.
Based. I'm on Mason.
You're on Mason?
Yeah, there's not a whole heck of a lot else to talk about.
Not really.
Remarks,
this is just kind of a quick... this is just kind of a quick starter to people that are thinking to, you know, to get into Archer.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
hopefully the aim with your WASD will be a bit of a help for you. Hopefully, you know, you'll kind of try out Longbow for yourself and then try out Shortbow for yourself and realize why why I said what I said about the short bow over the Longbow.
Yeah.
You know, and especially hopefully you try out the Warbow for yourself.
I'm gonna try this out actually to close out here. But yeah, guys, this is just meant to be an Archer Tactics. It's an overview video. I haven't done one of these in a long time, ever since my last class tactics. And you can expect also some just straight up Archer weapon tactics along with this. We gave a great overview, but just delving deep.
Yeah, I'd like to show you
Mm-hmm.
in action what is good, and that might actually entail me playing and sending footage to Ripper so that he can just do it, because then it'll be like,
we'll have
you know,
probably like a dual,
hopefully a bit more optimal
thing.
or something. Archer duels are hilarious.
Oh no.
Yeah, Archer duels are funny, but yeah, this is just like a quick overview, just me giving my opinions about certain things. Obviously, if I missed anything or there's anything that you guys are curious about, I'm active in the comment section. And if you disagree with me, you know, that's cool, but come show me why I'm wrong.
Yep. Exactly.
Don't just spurt at me in the comments why I'm wrong without just being like, the Warbow is good. The Warbow is best bow. Like, that doesn't help anybody. If you think that the Warbow is better than the Shortbow, I want to know why you think it is.
Yep.
And is that because you're one of those dudes that sits in the back of the map in a bush in a ghillie suit, sniping people?
In a ghillie
Is that
suit.
your play style?
Yeah.
I don't think that that's the most effective way to play Archer. So let's have a conversation. Let's
have a conversation. Yeah, guys. That's the gist of it. Again, these are all Frosty's opinions with a little bit of my own flavoring here and there. But for the most part, I hope this has been informational. I hope you guys like this style. If you did, let us know in the comments. Let us know what we should do next. If you are an archer, then, you know, what weapon would you like us to go over? Things of that nature. I just hate this weapon, dear God. It's so... I got a headshot. The first shot I fired with it when I spawned was a headshot.
Which bow?
The warbow.
Oh, it's so garbage.
But then, but after that, I couldn't do shit.
Do you see what I'm talking about though? When the arrow spits quicker, it goes to its target quicker after it releases. But that's about it. Do you see how slow you are when you move?
Yep.
That's called Frosty will roast you every single minute of your life if you're using that.
So
because
slow.
You can't escape me.
Yeah. It's like you're in molasses. It's horrible.
Mm-hmm. That's called Archers Please Kill Me. It's a giant sign.
Well, you heard it here, folks. If you want Frosty to kill you in Chivalry, use the Warbow. He'll find you. He'll bring you down.
I will find you. I will roast you.
He will roast you with his flaming arrows of justice. Well, thank you guys for watching. As always, have a grand day. Stay frosty. And
peace.
We'll see you guys next time. Let's... Oh, hold on. No, hold on. I need to do this.
Oh, nope. Sorry.
You motherfucker!